So, since I'm not really working on anything right now, I figured, you know what? I originally did do this on a tier list just for myself, and I might as well turn it into video form because I have nothing else to upload for right now. So this is a tier list on whether I want these Bluey characters to be in plush form or not. Now, why am I making this, you may be asking? Well, as probably a really big diehard fan of the show, and I wish there were more plushies instead of figures, I feel like this is the perfect time to not only talk about them, but also give my own personal thoughts on which characters I think deserve plushies. Or not, depending on which perspective, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so we might as well just start things off with the bottom and work our way up to the top, because I have some things I need to get off my chest. So yeah, I don't really have that much to say here, so let's just jump straight into this. Okay, so to get the bottom two tiers out of the way, we have two tiers here, or shall I say two sections for that matter, of characters that were already made into plushies and characters that I have no idea who they are, but I'm not including them on this list. So we might as well get them started so that way we can work our way up to the top. Now, by the way, for the characters that I don't really know, I'm not really going to list them or anything, but I'll just bring out the screenshot that I have on screen. Y'all probably know who these characters are, but they're not really too interesting for me, so I'm not going to rank them on this list. Now for the characters that already have plushies. So, as you can tell by the image here, still while it's being displayed, that these characters already have plushies, which I am very glad that all of them, other than the main four, actually have plushies, except Chattermax, but yeah. So anyway, Lucky, Lila, Bluey, Bingo, Chili, Bandit, Chattermax, Chloe, Coco, Winton, Socks, Muffin, Rusty, Snickers, Mackenzie, and Honey already have plushies, and I am really, really glad about that. Now, for the main four healers, I mean, come on, you should already know they would already get plushies. They're the main four characters. Okay, moving on. No! Okay, so some of you are probably going to disagree with me in the no, and, well, in quotes, politely, because these are characters that I don't want as plushies, but I'm not being harsh towards them or anything like that. I'm just saying no while also giving it my reasonings. And also, spoiler alert for the rest of the list, I'm actually going to go into each character and give a very quick reason as to why I don't want them as plushies. Some of them I am going to drag out, but it's only because I have either something to say or, well, something to say. Okay, no. But in all seriousness, this is just my honest opinion about why I don't want them as plushies, or I do want them as plushies. So, with all that said, we're starting off with Buddy's mom of all characters, which, by the way, the tier list I am using this entire video for is from a Season 1 through 3B character list. Just letting you know. So we're not going to get any characters from Season 3C, as I like to call it, but we definitely will be getting at least mostly everything. So yeah, Buddy's mom is a character that I know literally nothing about other than she was in the Pass the Parcel episode, and I don't really want a plushie of her. She is really that forgettable. Doreen is a character that is kind of interesting, but if I'm going to be honest here, a plushie of her would be interesting if we actually got one, but I would rather prefer other characters. Sorry. Grubber and his dad, which I'm ranking together instead of separately, both of them are kind of well known, even though I know nothing about them except just being background characters, I guess. Other than that, though, a Grubber plush would be interesting, but if we did get that, though, I would like to see him in at least one episode as a main character. I mean, they did that with Lila, and that was great. So, do that here if you really want a Grubber plush. Also, Grubber's dad, I literally know nothing else, so no to him, and no to Grubber as well. Jack's mom is a character that I don't really want as a plushie compared to Jack's dad, who we'll be getting into later. Yes, I did rank them separately, if anyone couldn't really tell. No. Just no. That's it. No. Anyway, for John Luke's parents, I really want John Luke himself as a plushie, which we'll be getting into later on in the list. But as for their parents, or his parents rather, quite forgetful, and honestly, I don't really want to see them as plushies. And while it would be cool, I guess, they were only in like one scene in the camping episode. That's it. Nothing else. Moving on. Okay, for Major Tom, I only have one thing to say. No. That's it. Nothing else. Missy's mom, kind of like Buddy's mom, was only in the background and Pass the Parcel, so I am not giving her a higher ranking, because I know literally nothing about her. Rocco, from the Wagon episode, I don't remember the title as of right now, like some of these in the no tier, would be sort of interesting in plush form, but really though, Nah. I'm only saying no because while his character design does seem cool and actually would be really cool in plush form, I'm only saying no because Rocco is extremely forgetful, and that's about it. And finally, for the no tier is the takeaway lady. I don't really know who wants the takeaway lady in plush form. Like, okay, if you really want her in the plush form, then that's great, but I don't really know who would really want her as a plushie. Also, if I were you, I would limit your expectations higher because, unlike some of these where it might happen, and I mean might as in a 1 in 100th chance, but I would not see the takeaway lady at all in plush form. Maybe in figure form if there's some sort of updated version of the takeaway set, but as of right now though, I highly doubt that's gonna happen anyway. Okay, since we got that out of the way, let's talk about the characters in the next tier that I'm not really sure if they deserve plushies or not, or characters that I'm not really too sure on who they are, but hey, I'll still talk about them anyway. Okay, so the next batch of characters here are gonna be in the maybe/unsure tier. Now, these are characters that I don't know too much about, or characters that I might agree or disagree with in terms of plush form, but it really depends on if my mind has changed or anything like that as time goes on. Okay, so starting this list off of all characters are Lila's brother and mom, which I will be talking about together, just like I did with Grubber and his dad. Lila's brother would be sort of interesting, considering that he has a different character design compared to Lila, although Lila is... Yes, by the way, I am calling Lila Lila, and not Leela, as some people call it. This is a Futurama, guys. Anyway, Lila's brother looks cool, but I'm not really sure whether to agree or disagree on him getting a plushie. The same thing can be said about Lila's mom. Again, cool design, but I'm not really sure whether to agree or not. I can already see Fido fans definitely wanting a plushie, considering they do ship Bandit and Fido, and honestly, I don't blame them in the slightest if they do want a Fido plushie, because then again, I want other adults as plushies, you'll see later on down the list. But like I said, I could definitely see why people do want a Fido plush, myself included. But here's the thing though, as interesting and also cool as that could be to ship Bandit and Fido in real life in plush form, I can't exactly say yes or no, because I'm not really too sure whether to have this or not. It would be cool, and I could definitely see almost everyone signing up on this if they do want to do Bandit X Fido stuff, or Fido stuff in general. But for me though, I'm not really sure whether to agree or not. I might have to come back to this one whenever I want to do an updated list on this, I guess. Trust me though, that's not going to happen. Anyway, Hercules is a character that's kind of disliked, but I wouldn't be shocked if Hercules did get a plushie, and I would try to get one nearly instantly, because Hercules, while might seem like an antagonist in a circus episode, I actually like Hercules. Besides though, like I said, if she were to get a plushie, which I wouldn't be that surprised if she did, I would try and get it, but as of right now though, if we were just talking about maybe getting one, my mind is, I'm not really sure whether to say yes or no. You're probably going to hear me say that a lot in this tier. Anyway, next up is Jasper, I think. You all know his design on screen, but I'm not exactly sure what his name is supposed to be, but I'm just going to call him Jasper because that's how I've heard about him. And also, Masters Art Studios actually did make a bunch of art for him, which is pretty cool. Anyway, like Grubber, I can easily see why people do want a Jasper plushie, and I actually do think the design would look cool in plush form. But I'm not really sure if I'm going to agree with him. Unlike Fido and Hercules, where I did have at least a solid enough reasoning, Jasper, on the other hand, is extremely forgettable, and I have nothing else to say. So that's why I'm not sure if a plushie of him should get made. Juniper and his mom are extremely forgettable, and I don't really have anything else to say, so I don't know if they deserve plushies or not. Okay, Maynard would be sort of interesting to see in plush form, but that's as far as I'm going to say in terms of maybe yes, in terms of a confirmation. Otherwise, though, don't expect me to say yes or no in terms of a Maynard plushie. Now, this is one that I kind of want to see, but at the same time, though, it's not really something that I'm going to remember, so that's why it's in the I'm not sure tier. Yeah, I know it's called maybe/unsure, but it could also be I don't know if you want to look at it like that. Anyway, Pom Pom's mom, like Pom Pom, who we'll get to later on this list, would be cool to see in plush form, and I could probably maybe see this happening, but I'm not too sure if I should agree with this or not. Snicker's mom only appears in the background, but she is pretty cool at least, and if a plushie of her were to get made, I would say that's a little too much for a character that barely has any dialogue, unlike Winton, who at least had a couple episodes of screen time. The vet corgi, I could imagine people seeing, yes to her, because she is well known in the Copycat episode. Besides, her design is pretty cool, and I could easily see, now that I'm actually talking about this, I could easily see veterinarians actually buying this vet corgi plush to put them on their desk or something, since the vet corgi is a vet. So, if you're a vet and you enjoy the corgi, then sure, go ahead and get it if it actually does happen. But as of right now, though, I don't want to say no, but at the same time, I don't want to say yes either, because the vet corgi is just okay in my book. Not bad, obviously, but just a character that I'm alright with. And finally for this tier, Cornelius, aka Winton's dad, would seem also kind of interesting to see in plush form, since we already have Winton in plush form. But this is another one where I'm not exactly sure if I'm going to go off with this or not, since, kind of like the vet corgi, who at least only had like 1 or 2 episodes of screen time while mostly just appearing in the background, I don't really know if I'm going to see this happen. That's all I'm going to say.
It's blue, one of the most popular colors of all time.
Okay, so from here on out, we're actually going to have positive things. These are the characters that I would like to see in plush form, starting from an interesting concept to I definitely want to see them. So first off, we're actually going to start things off with the characters that I would like to see in plush form, but I don't have the biggest desire to say 100% yes, but it would be a nice idea. So the character beginning this tier might seem a bit odd, but Lulu, aka Jack's sister, I would like to see in plush form, since Lulu is a pretty cool character, and I'm going to be honest, I have nothing else to say. I would like to see her as a plushie. Sparky, though, I do know he is getting a figure, but as of right now, though, it would be more better if we got to see him in plush form. While we're on the topic of the tradies episode, Cherry and Chippy would also be pretty cool in plush form, at least in my opinion, and I'm gonna be honest, I have nothing else to say. I know I'm gonna try and maybe speed this up a little bit, but I'm not doing this on purpose, I swear. Lucky's little brother Chucky, I know, but trust me, you could see the screenshot, I would like to see him in plush form, and that's all I'm gonna say, really, since Lucky did get one in plush form, even though I have 2 other Lucky, relatives that I would love to see in plush form, who you'll get to later on the list. Daisy and Marcus would be cool in plush form, since they are cool characters for me, but I'm gonna be honest, that's all I'm gonna say. I would like to see them in plush form, please. The same thing could go for Indy's mom, because, I would like to see her, since Indy herself doesn't even have a plushie. So for Indy, which, you know what? No, I'll say my thoughts for her ranking. So kind of like some of the other secondary characters that appear once or twice, Indy's mom would be pretty cool. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay, so remember how we talked about Jack's mom and how I actually don't want to see her as a plushie? Jack's dad, on the other hand, I would definitely like to see him in plush form, since I like him a bit better. And that's all I'm gonna say. Mackenzie's parents, I actually would like to see in plush form as well. That's about it. Since Missy did appear in a few episodes, she kinda does deserve a plushie, especially since she is a pretty cool character in general. Mort, on the other hand, I would like to see as a plushie as well. Yeah, I'm sorry if I'm speeding this up, that's because I don't really have that much to talk about. But don't worry, I have more to talk about in the next 3 tiers. And speaking of, for the final entry in this tier is Wendy. I would like to see her as a plushie. That's all. Since Wendy is a cool character, that I could definitely see at least a couple people, other than me, buying a plushie of her. So that's all I'm going to say. So I apologize if I didn't have too much to say for this tier. It's just that these are interesting ideas, unlike the next 3 tiers where I actually have more to talk about.
Congrats! You beat the shit out of a fucking blind guy!
Okay, so I heavily apologize for that clip. I just really thought it would be funny for this tier. So anyway, now that we've gone through the ideas that would be cool, time for the characters that I would probably admit in plush form. We only have 5 for this tier, but I'll talk about them. And why I think they're a better idea than everything below it. Not because it's a better, tier, but because I have more to talk about and actually reason with you all. So, we're starting things off with a character that I think some of you might agree with in plush form, or any form of merchandise, since we do get to see Chris as a figure. But I would like to see Bob as a plushie, and by the way, I apologize if the audio sounds a bit different. The laptop that I was actually using the sounds of for the bookmarks of this video, the fans were going off pretty loudly, and I didn't want that to interrupt my recording, so I exited the room that, I was recording this off of. Anyway, Bob would be cool in plush form, especially since, he doesn't have any form of merchandise, so I think this is a pretty reasonable placement for him. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm sorry, but I don't have that much more to talk about him. Busker is a character that I would like to see in plush form, not because he's a character that's my absolute favorite, but it would be cool to actually make him go around wherever I go. Especially since Busker does have his fans. I am one of them, though, so that's why I think he deserves to be in the probably a plush tier. Okay, so I'm not gonna lie, Chloe's mom would be cool in plush form. I know she barely has that much screen time compared to Frank, who we'll talk about later, but I'm gonna be honest here, and also I don't really have that much to say, it would be cool to see her in plush form. Okay, so while we're on that note, I am really sorry, but Judo would be cool in plush form. I know she's a character that everybody hates, myself included back when I actually hated her, but I actually don't hate her anymore. So Judo, I'm not gonna lie again, it would be cool to see her in plush form. I know I gave Wendy a spot below her, but what makes Judo just a little bit more possible to get a plushie is the fact that, well, you know, she's a kid character, and some kid characters like Winter, for example, got plushies. I'm just saying. Okay, so for the final entry here, well, you all can see on screen, obviously, is Winnie. Winnie, I think, would be a better idea than Fido. I'm not saying Fido was a bad idea by any means. No, of course not. Like I said, I did say earlier that Fido could work definitely as a plush, but I think Winnie would be a better possibility. Like I literally just mentioned with Judo, she's one of those kid characters, well, she actually only appeared once, where Fido at least appeared again. Winnie, though, would still be cool as a plushie for me. But I could definitely see maybe a couple other people agreeing with me. But then again, some people might actually disagree and say they deserve, I don't know, another character, a plushie, or something that I already talked about. Or what we're going to talk about next.
Oh boy, Nem's not going to be happy about this one.
Okay, so from here on out, we're going to talk about the plushies that I absolutely want in plush form. However, for this tier, though, I would say maybe 75 to 80%, whereas the next tier is 100% for sure. So, we have the characters that I really want in plush form, and some of these choices are definitely going to surprise you, especially in the last tier that you all have been waiting for. But, here we go. Okay, so starting us off, Bentley would be a character I would really like to see in plush form, especially since Bentley is an awesome character in my opinion. I'm sorry, but I really don't have that much to say. I know you guys probably want a way better explanation for about most of the entries on this list that I haven't done too much in the detail of, but I'm sorry, I really don't know what more to talk about. This video is 100% unscripted, so I guess that's maybe a good reason why I'm not exactly, well, collecting my thoughts and actually giving it a very good reason. But you could just tell that if I want to get this thing immediately, you know that I really want these characters in plush form. Alright, I'm not gonna lie. Who else doesn't want Bella in plush form? I mean, yeah, in the Baby Brace episode, I really did love the dialogue she and Chili had. And, well, we're not talking about the episode. We're just talking about her character. But like I said, it would be pretty awesome if she did get a plushie. And I'm sorry, but I don't have that much more to say. But I'm sure some of you could probably agree with me on this one. Brandy, okay, let's be fair, we all need Brandy as some form of merchandise. She was well received in the Onesies episode, at least in my opinion, because I knew a lot of people actually did like Brandy in the episode. So, why can't we get some form of merchandise? Especially since some other characters that appear a couple times did at the very least get figures. And I'm not gonna lie, Frisky deserves literally the exact same explanation that I already did. I am not kidding with any of you. Okay, so next up is Pom Pom. Do I need to say anything about this one? Well, no, but I'm still gonna talk about it anyway. At least for a tiny bit. Pom Pom is a really cool character. At least in my opinion, she did get well received. So, I don't know, she deserves at least something. But in my opinion, I would really love to see her as a plushie. And finally, and this is probably going to be the most agreeable one we could probably all agree on. Remember when Bob Bilby got an official puppet? Well, I think Unicorse deserves an official puppet too, since he doesn't have one as of right now. So that way we can all quote, "And why should I care?" I'm not kidding you, this would definitely be a bestseller. I'm not kidding with you. Like, really, I could definitely see a lot of people buying this. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what else to say, but we're actually coming up to the final tier of the list.
And my trailer's caught on fire. Fire?
Alright, well, we're at the last part of the list. These are the characters that I absolutely 100% want in plush form. So you know what? Let's kick things off with the top 3 plushies that I have been wanting ever since I got into the show that I actually did start getting merchandise for. Jean-Luc, Captain, and Mia are characters that I would absolutely love to see in plush form. I mean, these have been my top 3 ever since I started thinking about what merch to get. Well, that's new anyway. Jean-Luc does technically have a figure, which I do actually have, but I think it would be way better and actually better that Jean-Luc did get a plushie. Captain and Mia were only one-time characters, but I really do enjoy their character very, very much. And it would be awesome for me to get plushies of them. Next up is another entry that we could all probably agree on. Alfie does not have any form of merchandise, not even a figure, so could we maybe please get a plushie of him? He was really loved among, well, people who enjoyed the Quiet Game episode. And it feels... Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Do I really need to say anything about this one? You know what? We could all just stop right here. And this is actually going to be another case where we could all probably agree. Calypso only has a figure, but we would really like to, well, at least I would really love to see her as a plushie. I think some other people would too. Okay, so this is a bit high, but Chris would be awesome as a plushie. Okay, I apologize, but I don't really have anything more to talk about. Dougie, and you know what, we might as well put his mom in the exact same ranking. I would absolutely love to see in plush form. Dougie is an awesome character in my opinion. So you know what, it feels pretty appropriate to get both of them plushies. I'm not kidding. So remember when I talked about Chloe's mom about 2 tiers ago? Well, it's time to talk about Frank. Now, I know this is going to be an unpopular opinion, but I would absolutely love to see Frank in plush form. Frank is an amazing character. And I'm not going to lie, that's all I'm going to say. Okay, I know every single person is not going to agree with me. In fact, they might think this is a bit overkill. But come on, couldn't you agree that Harley deserves a plushie? I know she's a background character with extremely very minimal, roles, if you want to say that. Unlike Pretzel, though, who at least got a figure, and don't worry, we'll get to him. I actually would love to see Harley in plush form. She's a character that, well, I didn't really get into until a few months ago. I think would be an awesome idea for a plushie, since this could also be probably the best time to spread her character around, since she is a Japanese breeded dog, as far as I'm aware of from her character wiki. I don't exactly remember what it was called, but you can just look it up if you want to. Okay, let's all be clear here. Indy definitely does deserve a plushie. I know it might be a little bit hard to turn into a plushie since she already has a figure, but come on, some plushies of characters that are pretty hard to animate, well, from some that I can think of, actually did get plushies, so why can't she? The same thing could go with Jack. I'm not gonna lie, they do deserve the exact same explanation. So yeah, please give us an India Jack plush as well as everything else that I really think would be a good idea. Alright, now for an entry that all of you have been waiting for me to talk about. You know what, we might as well make it too. Pat and, I'm gonna say Chanel instead of Janelle. I know it's pronounced that way, but I always thought it was Chanel. Both of them would be perfect as plushies. I mean, come on, Pat's like the most iconic background character. And you're telling me there's only one 4-pack that has only him as a figure? That's kind of a disappointment. I would really love to see him in plush form. Chanel would be awesome in plush form too. Seriously, I think this is a way better execution than just giving Pat a figure like 4 fucking years later. Give me a break. Okay, moving on. So next up, remember when I mentioned that we were going to talk about Pretzel? Well, I think Pretzel would be awesome as a plushie, since he did get a figure, so why can't he get a plushie? Like I mentioned earlier, Winton and maybe 2 other characters that didn't get that much screen time did actually get plushies. So why can't we get some for some other characters that I, at least in my opinion, believe do get plushies? I know Pretzel barely has any voice lines, but come on, if he could get a figure, he could at the very least at some point get a plushie. Okay, Rad is a character that I think everyone would agree with me that deserves a plushie. Do I really need to say anything else? No, not really. I know we got a figure, but it would be better if he got a plushie. Okay, so 2 characters that are not on this list that also are Rusty's relative members, now that I'm actually thinking about it, are Dusty and Digger. Tiny does deserve a plushie too, which, by the way, I will give off a very quick review. I would love to see Dusty and Tiny get plushies. It would be cool to get Digger to get a plushie, but I would place him at the second to best tier. And I say that because Rusty's parents would be amazing in plush form. And I'm going to be 100% honest, that's all I'm going to say. So now we're actually at the final 4, with actually starting this off with our final 2 healers. Stripe and Trixie do deserve plushies. Stripe does have a figure, but he doesn't have a plushie. I would love to see him in plush form, especially since Muffin and Socks well, do have plushies. So why can't we for Stripe and Trixie? They do deserve plushies. At least in my opinion. Okay, so the Surfer from the Beach episode might be an extremely high ranking, and I don't think anyone is going to agree with me here. But like Harley, I think it would be awesome to have the Surfer in plush form. Although I think the Surfer from the Show and Tell episode might actually be at least a better explanation of why he deserves some form of merchandise. He might get one at some point, but I'm not sure. But anyway, he would be cool in plush form too. Now let me give a good explanation as to why the Surfer from the Beach episode, that's what I'm gonna call her, does deserve a plushie. Yes, she only has one voice line and is a background character, but unlike some of the other ones where I did talk about, actually did at least get some form of merchandise, I would really like to see the Surfer in plush form. Because, I mean, come on, if you're a surfer and you actually enjoy this character, you could get along with her just fine. You could probably do whatever surfing videos you want to do, or any beach posts. Well, I mean, then again, you could do literally anything with these plushies, since they are plushies. You could bring them everywhere, you could, do stuff to them. And no, I don't mean do stuff like in a bad way. I mean do stuff in a whatever you want to do kind of way, that they're yours, that you bought. You can do literally whatever you want with them. And that's the thing here. These plushies are just good ideas that I think we all could probably have. Sure, even the plushies that I didn't want, I wasn't being harsh. I was just politely saying no. Well, maybe only one exception, Major Tom, but I wasn't being harsh with them either. I was just saying, no. But anyway, the thing I'm trying to say here is that these plushies, we could do literally whatever we want with them. And we could imagine whatever we want to do with them. Isn't that what we're trying to do at the end of the day? Yeah. Alright, anyway, so for the final 3 entries, which are all grouped together, are the Terriers. The Terriers did get figures, which is cool, don't get me wrong, but I think they deserve plushies way more. Because like everything else, I think it would be a good idea for them to get plushies. And I'm not gonna lie, that's it. So, I hope you all enjoyed this really long video of me just thinking which Bluey characters do and don't deserve plushies. But also for some of the entries, for almost all of the entries on this list, you could agree or disagree with them, and I'd be fine with that, because we all have, well, whatever desire we want to have. Like, whether we want to have a character in plush or not, or they want a figure or something else like that. All that matters is that we have our own opinion on it and our own beliefs. So that's going to be it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed this. This took a long time to make. But, at least this is something that you all can enjoy while I'm not really making anything at the moment. So anyway, I'll see you all later with whatever we do next time. And that'll be all for now.